It is 2025 and I want you to survive. Fuck, thrive. Well, I hope you survive as well. It's 2025 and I want you to thrive. So let's do a goal setting session where we collectively are going to set tangible goals that you're actually going to achieve. So let's get into it. Now, this is a part 2 of another video I did where I gave an overview of my goal setting framework, and this time I'm actually using that set framework to set some fucking goals for myself and hopefully inspire you to do the same thing. It's gonna be a very chill sit down thing. I'm gonna go and grab a cup of tea. You can grab a cup as well. Also have like a tangerine or whatever these are called for later. So that's just to set the vibe. And speaking of vibes, what up bitches? Welcome back. If you are new here, my name is Titanim and I'm just gonna drop this, and I'm 28. Oh, I actually dropped all the way to the floor. Where did you go? We have a loose tangerine orange looking thing, and it's not Donald Trump. Well, he's loose as well. Where the fuck did it go? It actually disappeared. I'm 28 and here on my channel I share like productivity tips, self-development, and also behind the scenes of feeling fucking lost in my 20s. And this next year is going to be quite an interesting one for me because recently I did girl boss a little bit too hard. I'm actually moving across the globe to Australia to study a master's in environmental sustainability. So I know that's a lot of different things in one place, but if any of that strike your vibe, why not subscribe? So personally, I like to use my iPad for my goal setting. I just do this on my own planner that I made myself in Canva because I could not for the life of me find one that actually fitted my needs. There was just too much fucking information to fill out. I was thinking like, is this a birth certificate that I'm filling out right now? It was like, you know, what's your weekly goal? What's your daily goal? It's like, my goal for today is just to make it out of bed. How about that, Susan? So I made one myself. And if you would like to use the same one as I do, I will leave it down below for absolutely zero charge. It will be free to download. So go down there. There's literally no fucking excuse. We're going to start this whole goal setting party because we are having a party right now. It's going to be a hoot, okay? We're going to start that off by reminiscing a little bit. We are going to dwell at the past, okay? AKA, we're going to reflect a little bit on what the fuck just happened in the last year. So basically how I like to do that is writing down the achievements and also the kind of things that I feel like didn't work from the last year. I think it's very, very important to sit down and really just kind of like take a temperature on your life and realize what things are working for you, what aren't. And I think if you don't do this on a regular basis, how the fuck are you going to know? And then I am also doing what is called a wheel of life. So basically it's a wheel with 8 different categories. In my example, you can do whatever the fuck you want. If you just want 3, it's fine, whatever. But mine are career, finances, relationship, health, self-development, home, romance, and fun, because we gotta have a little bit of fun in life. I was thinking for this year that I actually wanted to remove the romance thing. Just because, you know, I'm kind of just going through a whole thing of like, I'm just realizing stuff and I'm just kind of working on myself, and my time right now is just not for dating. But I left it in there because I think it's still really nice to have a romance in your life, whether that being with somebody you want to date, or if it's being with your friends where you go to the cinema to see a movie, or you're taking yourself out on a date, on a walk, or whatever. It's just kind of like keeping romance alive in your everyday life, and I actually think there's something beautiful about that. Anyways, I'm just in a big yappity yap right now. So we're gonna do achievements. Think about what things did you achieve this year, big or small. Like, I think the biggest fail from not reaching your goals is to think that the goals are only the big things. A lot of the times I think we just focus on the bigger things because we see social media like, I should have a car, I should have a mortgage, I should have a family, a fucking dog, or going to Japan or whatever. It's really not. It's really also just sticking to your daily routine. It is drinking your fucking water, which is a huge problem for me. So as a reminder, I'm just gonna, you know, drink this heated up water with flavor in it. And yes, I leave the tea bag in, sue me. Also, this cup was a paid actor. Nobody's perfect, but you're close. Okay, so what did you do last year that was nearly perfect? And still a great achievement. So I'm gonna take a little bit of time. By the way, this whole thing usually takes me an hour to do when I'm not fucking rambling on and yabba yabba. Some of the achievements that I put is that I started doing YouTube again. That's something that really close to my heart. I became an impact manager working with sustainability. I got the top grade for that, so that's something I wanted to put on there. I also put that I kept my flat clean. I tidied up every single evening, and that is something I'd never done before, and I was super fucking proud of that. The very last one is I fell back in love with myself and life. She is so wholesome and cheesy. No, but 2024 was really about finding like back to my roots. What didn't work, I put 9 to 5 because it didn't. Like it generally just didn't work for me. I had my first 9 to 5 and didn't like it. I really didn't like it. And that's the tea. I know that's very privileged to say I didn't like a 9 to 5, and it's not because I will never get one again, but you can fucking bet your asses that I will work mine off to never have one again. The whole idea of having to sit somewhere from this time to this time every single day and have like obligations like that, not for me. I like to work when my brain is working. Another thing that didn't work, having two strict routines, again coming back to the 9 to 5, I think that's the root of that. Doesn't work. Scrolling on my phone or like phone time, procrastinating, and planning too much. And this is because I am especially good at sitting down and making plans and plans and plans and strategies and goals and all these kind of things, but you're not gonna actually achieve anything if that's the only fucking thing you do. So I need to get out of the whole planning mindset. That's what I've done the last couple of months, and it's just been proven so good. And then I also did like the wheel of life, as you can see. It's going a little bit all over the place. I'm not gonna go into like every single fucking detail just to make sure that this video is not 1,000 years long. But just very briefly, my self-development, home, and fun was like 10 out of 10 because last year was really a time of like just going with the flow and trying out new things, and the result is that I had a lot of fucking fun and I feel like I developed myself a lot. Relationships as well, because as I said, I was like going with flow, making a lot of new friends. Romance, not really there. It's non-existing. Okay, I put a 2 out of 10, but that's mainly because the dot was too big for the 1. There was nothing. Okay, zilt, nothing. But that's because I was working on all the other things. Career, I put that in the middle just because I had a job that I really, really loved and I learned so many things, but there's just a lot of things happened, and at some point I was like, you know what, this is not really benefiting me anymore, it's not making me happy, so I chose to leave. It was a little bit of a bumpy ride and definitely a learning curve for me, but I feel like I'm in a much better place now, and at the end of the day I really just believe that the universe, or whatever the fuck you want to call it, is never going to give you peace in a place that you weren't supposed to settle in. And I feel like that's what happened in my career. I guess I was like pushed onto the next thing, and then health plummeted as well. I got fat this year. That's the only thing I can say about that. We need to bump that up for the next year. So the next things I like to fill out is like my motivators, like what motivates me, what gets me out of fucking bed in the morning. Then I like to ask myself, what would I like to have more time for? What did I wish I had more time to do? And then my ins and outs of the next year, like which things am I keeping, and then what things are we leaving behind, because some things are great as like a learning curve, or like, you know, as a stepping stone, but it doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to take you to the next step or like next level. So some things you need to just leave behind. So that is what I'm going to write down now. So just a quick overview of what I wrote. For motivators, I wrote helping others, building a community. That's really something I just love, connecting with others. Then I also put hardworking women on here. I really enjoy watching Grace Beverly, for example, Faye Bate, Francesca Amber. She has a podcast. Pat is a boob in Danish. A podcast. I don't think she's talking about boobs on there. Well, sometimes she will, but anyways. But I really just enjoy watching other women succeed. And I'm trying to find more and more people that are sharing these kind of things, where it's not like overly glamorized. I want to see when you're crying in the corner being like, this is hard, and then still overcoming that. And then I think an overall motivator for me is also freedom. And now, you know, freedom is very broad. Like, what the fuck is freedom? For me, is very much time bound. Like, I want to be able to have the time to do whatever the fuck I want. Would I like money as well? Yeah, that would be cool. But my main motivator is definitely that I can fill my everyday life and my time with the things that really fill my cup. I also put be in nature, but that's really, I've just started really to connect with like the outside world this year, and it's just fucking nice to take a walk. Like, I had a headache the other day for the whole day. I went for a walk for 10 minutes, gone with the fucking wind, quite literally. So that is something I want to prioritize. So some of the ends for 2025 is to romanticizing my life. I feel like that is really what changed the last half of my 2024. I feel like the first half was quite busy, quite I want to say miserable in so many ways actually. And then the last bit has been absolutely fucking amazing. And one of the things I did here was fucking romanticizing my life. Also resetting my flat. We're not going back into that whole slum thing. Honestly, just changed my fucking life. I had so much underlying anxiety that I didn't even fucking know until I started fucking cleaning my flat every single day. And honestly, life changing. And I also want to move my body more regularly and take messy action because, as I said earlier, I have a tendency to make a lot of strategies, sit down and really like, we need a plan. It's kind of like the same thing as in Harry Potter where Hermione's like, we don't have a plan or something like that, and then Harry's like, why do we need a plan? Like, we plan, we go there, the plan goes to fucking shambles, and then we have to find something new. So that is kind of like starting to be my approach, like, just fucking take messy action. So the outs for 2025 is to lower my screen time. I feel like I have worked a lot myself the last year and I'm very, very happy about where I am at the moment. But the things that I'm still feeling like very heavy about is my phone usage and also just taking time off in general. I'm really bad at that. Another thing I want to leave behind is abandoning myself in front of others and also masking myself in front of others. If you don't know, I found out a couple of years ago that I have ADHD and also autism. Yay. I just have a full platter and a fucking bingo card, right? And I have spent the majority of my life masking in front of others. So sometimes I question, who the fuck am I even? And I was always also very obsessed, I guess, about fitting in. So a lot of the times I hear myself saying things that aren't actually true. Like a great example is when I started my job, my boss was like, oh, are you one of those like astrology girlies? Like, do you like, crystals and looking at zodiac signs, things like that? And I hear myself that seriously say, no, I don't like that. I have crystals up there. Like, I have a bloody fucking tarot card reading thing somewhere. So yes, I do. I like that. Call me woo-woo, call me whatever. I don't care. I think it's fun. I don't base my whole fucking personality on it, but I think it's fun. And I want to practice saying that to people. What else do we have? I put analysis paralysis because I am just, again, really good at sitting down, looking at all the things I need to do and not fucking doing shit. And I want to also leave behind the phrase, but I don't feel like doing that. That needs to stop because that is primarily why I'm not fucking moving my body on a regular basis, which is good for ya. I am just constantly like, oh, but I'm so comfortable here on my sofa, or like, oh, but I don't have time. Like, no. So now that we reminisced a little bit, we looked at the previous year and we were like, what the hell just fucking happened? And I'm not sure we came closer to an answer, but hopefully we took a little bit of temperature off our life. And now we're actually going to go into the goal setting portion of this goal setting video. Wow. What a long intro, right? So one of the first things I like to do for the upcoming year, for the new year, is to think, what era in my life am I in? Have you seen that on social media? It's like, I'm in my productive era. I'm in my clean girl era. Kind of just give yourself like a headline of what is this year going to be about. For example, last year I can see that my era was like creating routines, which I did. I created a lot of routines. So I'm just feeling like I need a pat on the back right now. And when I'm saying like choose like whatever you're in or like your season of life, it's because I believe that you can do anything you put your mind to, but you just simply can't do it all at once. And therefore, I think it's very wise to pick somewhat of a priority. Like, what is it you really want to focus on? For example, if you are thinking, like, I want to save up for a mortgage and buy a house this year, but then simultaneously you keep going on like a bender and fucking buy the whole mall every Friday, and you're simply just not going to reach that goal of buying a house in the foreseeable future because you're fucking spending your money elsewhere. So it's not so much about leaving your dreams behind that it is being smart about actually achieving your dreams. So just make some thoughts about what area you're in and then write a list of things you want to do in 2025. Kind of like a wish list thing. We're not setting goals just yet, but they're just like directions of like a brainstorm of like what would you actually want, and then we're going to come back and do an exercise to figure out what is it truly your laser focus should be pointing at. I've written down my wish list, so to speak, but as you already guessed it, this is not a wish session, this is a goal setting, so we're making this into goals in 1 second. But I started by just brainstorming, thinking what would I really want this year to be about. And I think it's really fun to write also things where you're like, should I really put this here? Oftentimes the most insignificant things are the ones that actually makes our life enjoyable. And if you fail to plan, you plan to fail. So to think that your life is just magically getting better just because you have these big ass goals of like buying a car or a house or getting a family, like, no, it's literally what you do every single day with what you fill your life with. If you don't take time to fill your life life with good things, it's simply not going to be filled with good things. So I really like to put teeny tiny small things on there. For example, I have do 2 pull-ups. Yes, I know. What a weak ass bitch. This has been on my fucking goal list for probably 3 years straight. I'm yet to do a single one. This is the year we're doing that. I don't know why, but I want to be able to do that, and that's so hard for me. But truly, it's because I fucking set it and forget it. Like, I don't translate that into daily habits of like when I'm going to the gym, I need to do some different exercises, whatever it might be. I am failing to translate that into the everyday life, and therefore it's simply not happening. And that is basically like the essence of goal setting. People just always make these huge ass goals and then they forget to translate it into everyday tasks and habits. So we're going to do that in a second, but just to run through some of the things that I've put as well. Work smarter, not harder. Here I am mainly thinking about going back to school, like what routines and strategies and systems can I put up so that it's really easy for me to study for school, so I can also go out and enjoy the land that is Australia. What else? Move my body. I put at least 5 days a week. I'm still like, I wanted to be specific because that's also one thing that people are like, I want to get in shape. Okay, but what does shape look like? What is that to you? Like, is it a specific size? Is it a specific pair of trousers you want to fit into? But also by when? Like, when are you doing this? Because if you don't make it tangible, you're simply not going to do it at all. What else? I put hit 10,000 subscribers here on YouTube. Now, this is one of them things where it's like, I can't myself physically change that outcome. Like, I cannot make more people subscribe if they don't want to. What I can do, however, is make sure that I post enough content and make it good quality, make it relatable, make it fun, entertaining, whatsoever, that people feel like they actually want to subscribe and see more of my content. So sometimes you might have a goal where you can't really change the outcome, but what you can do is you can change the input. So for example, I put receive 4 scholarships for my university degree. Now, I cannot myself, you know, force that through. I cannot make sure that I get 4. But what I can do, adjust my input and make sure I send enough that I can have 4. So now that we have our wish list, we are going to change that into the goals and actually make it into habits, because we're not making a wish list for Santa, we're making a goal setting list. So what I like to do when I have this whole list of things I would like really love to achieve in 2025, is it here, I kind of like go in and I highlight the things that speaks the most to me. And here it's a good idea to cross reference with your previous work of like, what things motivate you, what do you want to have more time for, what's the ins and outs for your year, and like what worked, what didn't work for the last year, because this way you are making sure that you are on track, that you are not side questing, that you're not like throwing spaghetti at the wall. You are making sure that you are just honing in on the goals that you have, right? So I am done highlighting, and the 5 I chose was move my body at least 5 days a week, set OKRs every quarter, so like don't set it and forget it. I have not really touched in on this. I talked about that a little bit in the other video, so go check that out if you want to see it. But basically, that's the framework that I'm using when I'm setting goals for every single quarter. And that is also one of the ways that I'm getting this into my everyday life. But we're going to touch on that in just a second. Then I put hit 10,000 here on YouTube because it's just such a big dream of mine. And then I put receive 4 scholarship and lower my screen time to 4 hours like on my phone. So when you have those 5, and for me it was a little bit tricky because like I don't want to choose, and this is also not about choosing and like not going after the other things. This is simply about being smart about your strategy in order to achieve them. So if you achieve this before a time, pick another one. Like, it's perfectly fine. It's just to make sure that you don't get stuck in the whole like new year, new me, and then it's like back to your fucking bullshit after a month. So now that you highlighted 5 of your wishes, or whatever you want to call it, we are going to make a top 3 priority. So we're going to cut those 5 down to 3. And you might even find that you can like combine some and make like a new goal. Sometimes, for example, I had like the do 2 pull-ups and move my body at least 5 days a week. Maybe you also had like lose weight or eat healthily. Like, that's somewhat the same category. So I'm just going to take a moment to do this and then come back. So the first one, moving my body. I think that's just essential. I need to fucking just do that. I need to shut my mouth and move my arse, and it's just a non-negotiable at this point. The other one is create content to help others. If you remember before, I said like I really like this whole community thing. I also want to make content, and I think the best way to make content is to warp those two. And then the last one, I struggle a little bit about like what should I actually phrase this, because I had the like set OKRs, like basically goal setting, but then also receive scholarships, like lower my screen time. I had something about I really wanted to work on like uni and like make some systems about that. So in the end, I ended up calling it Take Uni Seriously, basically. It's very straightforward. And you should always. But I think it's also important to sit down and really be like, what does that look like to me? At this point, I also like to divide these goals into the different quarters of the year. Now, this is not about like planning your whole year ahead already, but again, for example, the 10,000 followers here on YouTube, if I want to hit that in December, obviously I shouldn't just start uploading in December and be like, ooh, I hope YouTube algorithm is just going to really love me today. I need to already put in that work today, like the first fucking month of the year. Let's say you wanted to go travel in Japan. You're not gonna just pull up in the airport with your backpack and be like, I'm ready now, because you need to fucking book the flight tickets, you need to book the accommodation, you need to figure out who are you booking things through, are you traveling with people, what is it gonna cost, do you have a job, you need to take time off. There's so much shit to do. So you need to plan that ahead, and having kind of like a small overview of that, I just like that. I think it's just really nice. It really helps me. If it doesn't help you, don't do it. That is basically my yearly goal setting. But what I then do afterwards is every single quarter is I go in and actually make a quarterly goal setting session as well. And that is what I put, like, I want to be really, really on that this year and use something called OKR. You can also look up something called 135 goal setting. Basically, the idea is that when you have ticked off all of those 5 priorities, you have ticked off that strategy, and then when you have all 3 strategies ticked off, you have ticked off the main goal. I just go in and do a quarterly goal setting session as well. It's a shorter one than this one. It's not like a lengthy one where I'm doing like the whole thing from scratch. I'm kind of just like pulling things from my yearly goal. The 5 we already highlighted, that could be the ones that you're starting with. Is really just about making this the easiest for yourself. And I know you might be thinking like, oh, I need to do like the whole year, and I then need to do the quarterly, and then I need to have like a daily habit. Yes, you do. But that does not mean it takes time. And essentially what it comes down to is the fact that time is going to pass anyways. So you can sit on your ass and think, I wish I had this, or you could get up and fucking work for it. And I know that's very harsh, and it's not to become like, I feel like nobody want to work these days. Like, I understand that life is fucking hard. It's hard for me as well. But I've just had to become really fucking real with myself and cut out my fucking bullshit and realize like nobody is going to come. Nobody. Literally fucking nobody is gonna come and help you achieve these goals. Hopefully I can help you a little bit along the way, but at the end of the day, it is you and you only. And therefore it is just important that you make time for this, because I fucking want to see you win. I want to see us all win. And I just believe you have so much potential you haven't even fucking tapped into. I know that because I know that for myself, and I see that with all my friends as well. And planning your year and kind of like working like a business, I think is the first like step to making sure that you are ahead of this. And it's not about being ahead of life and like, comparing to social media, but this is simply about taking control of your own life. So I do this quarterly as well. This video is probably going to be too long if I go into that as well, but basically you can see that in a planner. Basically I have a top priority this quarter, and then I have the goals I want to achieve, and then I have like be more specific. So instead of like I want to lose weight, okay, what does that look like? How much? What do you need to do on a daily basis? So basically, again, translating everything into habits. And then I also just like to have like an overview of the quarter on the side, just because then you can kind of like see, important dates, plot that in. So I really hope you got something out of this video. If you want me to do the quarterly planning as well, let me know. I'm happy to do it. I just don't want to bore all of you lot. If you're like, okay, I just want to set my goals for the new year. For me, it's really just less is more. And I find that with this way of setting goals, where I literally have everything on one page here on the planner, it makes it easier for me to remember those goals because I fucking forget them. Like I set and forget them, but that's not what you're supposed to do. Like if you're working in a business and you are creating all your goals in January, you don't just say like, okay, cool, see you in December, and like hopefully we're all just gonna make it. No, like you check in quarterly, monthly, weekly, daily to make sure that you are on track. And yeah, this way just really helped me do that. And I really just try to simplify fucking goal setting instead of having 10,000 different ones and 5 different pages that you need to update every single week. I just like to have one page with all my goals and then essentially one page for each quarter, and that's it. Like I don't have any more goal setting, literally. That's how I do it. And then I just translate that into my daily routine. And yeah, that was a lot of fucking rambling from my side. I really hope that this helps just one person out there. And I know that like when I'm doing these videos, I'm always like, who the fuck want to watch this? Because I am a rambler. I talk in circles and I over explain things, and it's really annoying. And when I'm making this, I'm always just like, nobody's fucking gonna watch this. But hopefully just one person out there is going to watch this and think like, oh, that's actually helpful. And if not, I hope you just got the fucking planner and like that, and it gives you joy like it gives me joy. So yeah, with all of that fucking word vomiting for the last 2 hours or something like that, I really hope you enjoyed this. If you did, please do leave a like or comment. I absolutely love connecting with you guys. And if you for some fucking weird reason think like, oh, I'm not done hear her talking, we have another yapper video here where I talk about something that's personally recommended for you, and then down here we have my latest upload. So that's probably going to be the video, like the part 1 of this video. So if you want to check that out, feel free to do so, and if not, I'm just going to see you next time. I really don't fucking blame you because my throat is sore. So I'm gonna see you in the next one. Bye, bitches.